Good evening, wonderful people. Welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversation Show with your host, Camila, aka Sunshine. It is Tuesday, November 19, 2024. We are in the land of the living, and I'm so happy about it. It could have been another way, but God saw fit that we are live right now. Please do me a favor. I need you to tell the world that we are live right now on the Facebook page, Sunshine Camila, Kamela. We are live on the YouTube channel, which is the name of the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are live on Twitch and Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. However, figure it out. I need you to go there, somewhere on there, and let people know that we are live right now. This beautiful young lady I have known and trying to figure out how did I know her, because we have been in the same space several times over and over and over again. As you know, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny, proven over and over again since I started this show in 2020. Also, I have some of the dopest guests on this side of heaven, and tonight is no different. So, I've been following her on social media, and low-key, I was kind of jealous because I'm like, oh, she is so fit. Like, one of these days, I'm going to get down to where, in my mind, I'm going to get down to. However, and she is definitely an advocate. She's definitely helping our children. And I needed her on here to discuss why it's important for us to show love, show concern, show that we care in order for us to save the person next door to us. The person that is in the grocery store or in school with us. And so we're going to talk about some of those things and some of the journey that she had to go through to be who she is today. So I'm going to read, I'm going to read some of her bio, and then we're going to get into it because that's what we're here for. And I had a long day today, so it might get like a little cuckoo today, but it's all right.
Cuckoo is good.
I'm just saying. Sudana? More.
Yes.
She began ministry at the age of 19. In 2018, God gave her the vision for Remnant on the Rise, a nonprofit serving homeless individuals, widows, and fatherless children. As a fatherless child and daughter of a widow, she witnessed firsthand the gap in various outreaches and aimed to bridge it together. As an incarcerated, right?
Yep.
I told y'all it's gonna get kooky. So, youth ministry chaplain since 19, she believes mentors not just is a disciple or a discipline, but she is crucial for youth development.
Yeah.
Modeling inspires change. In 2020, she published God Uses Pain to Birth Purpose, which is now available on Amazon. She is, in this book, sharing her journey and inspiring others to find purpose amidst adversity. So tonight, I want you to welcome this wonderful boxer, fighter, fitness, you name it, she do it. Okay. Sudana Amara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I love the way that you titled the show. That was like, you spoke to me.
Absolutely.
Exactly to the key.
I find it, first, let me do this disclaimer. So, village, wherever you are, in your home, in the grocery store, it doesn't matter. Wherever you're listening, I need you to stand up. I need you to put your hands up in the air, and I need you to open your mouth. Now, get ready for what we're about to say. Now, if you are in your car, your truck, wherever you're driving, I need you to safely pull over, roll down your windows, or get out, and I need you to scream to the top of your lungs, welcome this wonderful lady to the show tonight, because it's about to be lit.
Thank you. Oh yeah.
We going. Did
All
y'all
the
hear
way.
the wind on that one? That I did really good on that one.
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
we about to take flight
Yes, yes.
because it's very good evening, Melvin. Good evening. Wally Dixon is in the building from and one.
And one period.
Period. I love him. I love him so much. So, part of the village and the things that I do on a regular is because I have the love of people, even when they didn't have the love for me. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, that's real love.
Even when sometimes, you're the person that gets stabbed, you're the person that'll jump in front of a bullet for someone else. Sometimes the journey that we choose is not our choosing. The biggest thing is to, or take away from this, is to understand that the things that we have gone through in our lives, it wasn't about us.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And we have to be able to be transparent and honest to say, hey, I went through this, but it didn't kill me.
Yeah.
I went through this. I felt like this, but it didn't kill me.
Definitely.
Even in 4 years, 5 years of doing this, they still don't know.
Okay.
But yet and still, I still smile. I still go through. Because I have purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight we're going to understand that even if you don't have your dad or didn't have your father,
Yeah.
or widow, whatever the case may be, you're still here.
Because all things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to his purpose. And when you first started talking and you talked about how can you love when you've experienced, for instance, somebody stabbing you and you're trying to heal them. But like the Bible says, how does the love of God dwell in you and you shut up your bowels of compassion? You can't shut it up. You can't stop it. You can't close the cap because you've been hurt. Because you were made to love and God gave you the capacity to do the things that you do. And so you wouldn't be operating in your creation role if you stop loving.
And it has been moments when I was like, you know what?
Tired of this.
But then, just in the nick of
Mhm.
time, when I decide enough is enough, I'll quit, I'm done, somebody will say, hey, I'll watch your show. Hey,
Mhm.
I'm here, I'm listening, I'm getting the nuggets and the gems that you bring on from other people, and
Yeah.
don't quit. And you be like, you listen? You watch? What?
Right. It's not in vain.
And we have to go on regardless if we're the popular. Come on,
Mhm.
somebody. If they're not calling your name, whatever the case may be, you still got to go on, because guess what? God did this. This wasn't my doing. This wasn't my choosing.
Mhm.
But He has purpose for us, even in the time of adversity. That's when He show up the best.
Yeah. And you're being faithful with what he gave you and doing it well.
Girl, don't have me get off this couch. Please don't do it.
You're doing it well. And sometimes we do get discouraged. Sometimes we get weary in well doing. But as long as you keep going, and I taught a message one time that winning, it doesn't look like winning always. Sometimes you're bloody at the end of the war, but you won. Sometimes you're bruised, sometimes you're limping across the finish line, but you still won. Winning isn't beautiful always,
Girl,
but you got to keep going.
listen. You I need a drink after that one. That is water. That is. That's water.
You gotta keep going. You just have to. That's what
I
faith
got
is.
so many questions. Like, so I posted a picture of you with these boxing gloves on.
Yes, yes, yes. So that photo shoot, that was my idea. I was like, because I don't know if you remember the Ludacris stand-up video when he had the
Uh-huh.
big Air Force Ones on and he was
Uh-huh.
stumping them.
Uh-huh.
So we have like two pairs of those gloves at my gym, a black pair and a red pair. I said, you know what? I want to do a photo shoot with those gloves on. Because the photographer, he just wanted to do regular pictures. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do this because it's going to make it different. And I was thinking about the Ludacris stand-up video. But I'll tell you about boxing. I started when I was 15 years old. And I really wanted to box when I was like in kindergarten. But my mom was like, no, she thought it would amplify my anger. And she thought it would make me fight more. So, but it was actually perfect timing when I actually did start at 15 at Budsell Recreation Center, west side of Detroit, Linden. And it helped me at that time because that's when God was like delivering me from the spirit of anger. That's when I realized anger is a spirit because I would do things and lash out and then I would regret it later, but I couldn't control it. Once I got to the end of myself, and I know it sounds weird because I was 15, but I had a relationship with the Lord at a very young age. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this myself. I have to go to God. So when I went to God and I said, I tried to stop, I can't control it. That was the time when I started boxing. So it was all like ordained to be that way. And that helped me to understand discipline, being able to say no, being able to walk away, understanding that the person who really has power is the one that can control themselves. And so boxing was a really big pivotal instrument that God used in my life because it was so much more than just fighting.
So, we just had this, watch Mike Tyson. And I was like, I can't watch it. And they was like, but
Mhm.
it's Mike. Listen, I can't willingly watch somebody get their butt kicked. I just can't. I can't do MMA. I can't do none of that. My stomach, I can't do it. And for you, that's the first thing I thought about. Like, okay, not only is she female, but she's in the world. Now is more acceptable to be a female boxer.
Definitely now it is.
And so were you, why were you so angry?
Honestly, it was in my blood. My father had really bad anger problems and he used to abuse my mom. My dad
Mm.
got killed when I was 5 years old. He fought some people, beat them up, and they came back to retaliate. It was natural. Like I don't know any kindergartners that's just really flexing kids. And I was 4 years old in kindergarten. It was literally like my mind perceived things the wrong way. Like I couldn't see it clearly. I just thought I was offended. Like I had this offense and this chip on my shoulder to where I would just fight, fight, fight. Like, it's fight, flight, freeze. I was fight. And I wasn't really understanding because it was like a veil over my eyes. And it was in my blood, really. It was generational. And I needed to break that generational curse.
Well, I'm glad you brought some of these things up. A lot of times we don't really talk about the dirty secrets of our family lineage, right?
Hmm.
You just do because it comes natural to you, but you don't know the history of why you're doing what you're doing. You're just going and living in the moment. And I know, being the oldest female, oldest of three, I
Yeah.
was taught to fight. I was taught how to fight, how to wrestle, how to not necessarily be a girl,
Hmm.
because I had younger siblings under me. And so I had to make precedent of, you not about to bully me. You not
Yeah.
about to do nothing to my siblings. I will kick your butt because my mom will kick my butt if I don't kick yours.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy to be the biggest tomboy in the neighborhood. I had to. Had to. And then my brother right under me, he wasn't no joke. And then when he got to high school and he was playing football,
He really was.
listen, and I had to put hands on him.
Oh, you had to let him know.
What?
I'm
I'm
still the
still
big
the
fish.
oldest. I wish
Right.
you
I'm
try
still
me.
the one.
Try
Right.
me.
You know
But
what? They get to that age sometimes where they feeling themselves.
I had to put him down.
Yeah.
Then he understood, like, yeah, okay, good.
There's
Now
levels
we
to
can,
it.
yeah, now we can move on. Just know, I don't care, grown or not, I
I'll
will
give you
tag
out. I climb that tree. I don't
you.
care
I
how
will
far.
tag you. Don't play. So
Right.
I was wondering about, the anger of
Mhm.
that spirit following you of
Mhm.
at any moment I'm gonna pop off.
Yeah. And I wouldn't talk. Like I wouldn't say much.
Mm,
It's like I would just do the talking with my hands. Like if somebody trying to argue, I'm literally like probably walking up at a young
wow,
age too. It was a spirit because you just don't come out the womb like
right. So
without it.
how long did it take for you to like really master boxing?
Well, with boxing, when you really doing it and you compete, it and I was in the gym. I was a gym rat. I was in the gym every single day, probably multiple times a day. I got addicted. Like I started in the summer and my mom noticed like after a month or so, like I was losing weight. I was just in the gym, addicted to working out. I was always there trying to work on my craft. I had a whole bunch of older, seasoned men in the gym at that time that were teaching me really well. And I just wanted to every day I want to master the jab. I want to make sure I'm throwing it right. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm jumping rope. I'm building myself up. And it was really therapeutic for me too. And it took like a couple years, but you're never like at a peak where I have arrived. You're always learning, always growing. But when I really started to develop my own style, it took like 2 years before I really started to develop my own style and what I like and what works for me because I have short arms. So I have to take a bigger step if I'm trying to get to a person and just learning myself at the same time while learning the craft. So a couple years fighting out of the state and the U.S. Championship, PAL Nationals, Golden Gloves, fighting in those competitions and fighting tall people, short people. It was nothing but guys in the gym, so that's what I was used to boxing all the time because the girls wouldn't really stay. Um, and I noticed the difference between when I would get into competitions with the girls threw their punches a little bit more loopy. The guys threw them straight. I'm used to moving out the way of straight punches. But sometimes the girls get, really emotional with it and they throwing a loopy and a no matter how long they train, even in the nationals, it was like girls throwing loopy punches, whereas the guys like straight shoot. So that's what I was taught to do. So it was some adjustments and just learning myself, learning my style, my craft, getting in tip top shape. Took me like 2 years to really develop my own style.
So what is the recovery like? I'm a stickler for my face, right?
I have never had a black eye.
Okay, we gonna get to it because I'm all like,
I've never had a black eye. I've had like two bloody noses in the gym. Well, one in the gym and one in a fight. One in a fight, I had a bloody nose. I went to Chicago, and my coach was sick. I didn't know what happened to him. I had to take a different coach with me to go to this competition I wasn't really prepared for, and I got caught with an overhand right. on the bridge of my nose, and it was bleeding. But and then one time in the gym, it was a guy. He like backhanded me with the glove, and I got a bloody nose. But it wasn't that bad. But I never had a black eye or like big swollen head and lumps, and I don't know. Maybe it's my skin, but I wasn't getting like bruises and stuff like that.
So, were you professional or just still on amateur level?
I was in the amateurs, so I left boxing alone for like 12 years. Like I had all this stuff going on. My car got stolen. My coach was sick. I was in college and I had two jobs at the same time. I always been like super overly ambitious. So I was like, you know what? I gotta finish my degree. I just gotta focus on this. My coach is sick. You can't just train with anybody. You can't trust just anybody. And I knew he would make sure that I was prepared for everything. And I want to feel confident in my corner. If you don't feel confident in your corner and you're going into a fight and you halfway prepared, it's not going to really go well. So I didn't want to do that, so I just stopped. And in 2020, I started back boxing. That was the amateurs. I started back boxing because I had got huge into so I got big in 2019, and I was like, and I had moved to Arizona, right, for 9 months. And when I came back, I started back boxing. I'm like, that's the only thing that's gonna motivate me to get back in shape and make me consistent. And I had lost the weight in like a year. And I was like, you know what? You going when fighting is in your blood, just like Mike Tyson. Nobody really wanted him to get in there at 58 years old. But fighters with a fighting spirit and it's in your blood and you're not afraid and you love it, you're gonna always want to get in there. So me being in the gym, people asking me to spar, me still like, oh dang, I'm recording it. Like, oh, I still got something. Like, I didn't even know I still got it. Cause you don't know what you got after all
Right.
that time. Like, I know I can fight, but boxing shape is different from just a street fight. Or
Yeah.
just, so I didn't know what I had. It's been 12 years. And I had went down to New York. I sparred a girl that's like a two-time champion, and she was the same size as me, and I got in the ring and boxed her, and I wasn't even fully in shape. And we did like 4 rounds, and I was just like really, I guess, looking good to the people in New York. And it was at a gym that's like a historic gym. I had never been to New York. One of the people in New York flew me down there, and I sparred with her, and I just was like relying on what I know, what I was taught. And the coach was like, "Are you pro? Where you boxed at?" And I was like, "No, I haven't boxed in 12 years, you know." And he was like, "You need to go pro. Like I love your style. You slick. You do the old school moves. Like you turn your right hand over." And he was just like going into details. I'm like, you know what? I never got the chance to do it, and I always wanted to. So I did go pro. In what 2022 or three? It's real grimy in the boxing professional game. So I got screwed over by a promoter, and I was like, you know what? With all the things that I'm doing, I don't want to tarnish my legacy, and I don't want to be distracted because I'm dedicating so much time and energy and heart and soul into that. It doesn't matter like how multifaceted you are, how good you think you can multitask. Something is going to lack somewhere when you're doing so many different things. So I was still teaching at the time and still preaching and doing the other things, but that you have to dedicate yourself fully to it. And if I'm gonna go get screwed over by promoters and all that, this is not all that I have to sit here and waste my time in.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but it is scammy in the boxing, world. And it's a lot of janky promoters and no union. So but I'm a fighter in my spirit. Like when you said I fight for the community, that is literally what I do. Everything that I did in the ring and all the training that I put in, all the warfare that I had to go through mentally, it transferred over into every other area of my life. You can't get me to quit. You can't I can't get me to quit. I think I'm going to quit sometimes, when it get hard, and I still end up still going. You can't make me quit. Like the things that I did in the gym, training, I needed to pop back to shape at that time. And so when I went back to boxing, it was really I was trying to get me back. I had went through a divorce in 2018, all of this slander, going on and all of that stuff and thing after thing. And all I know, this is one of my ways to get through prayer, fasting, yes, but sometimes, you have to use those things, those gifts and talents to keep you alive and help you, move forward. And that was one of my weapons that I used was boxing. Got my body back together, got my mind back together. I was like, okay.
Wow. So
I know I'm throwing you for a loop because I be
I
having.
haven't even got into the questions. I needed to know, like, for myself, like,
Yeah,
okay, um I know for some who, deal with, stress in life and things of that nature, everybody has their vice. Everybody has something that
yeah.
they go to faithfully to,
Mhm.
hopefully get them over what they're dealing with. There were moments in time, and I've said this before, my vice was sex. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't going to the gym. I couldn't stand the gym, first of all. And then, all of these alcohol and all that, it wasn't that. And then, at the same time, you're shortchanging yourself because you're not paying attention or valuing yourself.
Right.
You're giving parts away to other people or other things, but you're not paying attention to you.
That's a fact.
You just want to get the pain away. You just tired of crying. You're in a place of just being vulnerable. You tell your story and they run with it. You just
Mhm.
like, you know what? One day,
Yeah.
this is the scary part for me, is one day I won't have a filter on.
Mhm.
One day I'm not going to play chess or checkers.
Mhm.
It's just going to be automatically checkmate.
Yep.
And the thing that stopped me the most is you've done so much and you will throw it away in 1 minute.
You know what? And that's something juvenile ministry. I love how God literally orchestrates our path because when I started juvenile ministry, I was 19. And that helped me to maintain my deliverance, to maintain my freedom because I'm telling these boys that did something that took 30 seconds, 1 minute, and now they in here, some of them for life. They're aging out of juvenile and they're gonna go to prison after that for one decision that took a couple seconds to do. So that held me accountable. I can't be out here letting anger get the best of me or different things when I'm telling you this. So that
Yeah,
held me accountable heavily. And I love going in there and ministering to them. And it would bless me every time. But it also had that like, you can't say
yeah,
this and be a hypocrite.
yeah,
So I would just vengeance is the Lord, different situations happening. I can't act out of character because I'm held to a higher standard.
yes.
You want
What
to?
do I want to? Ooh, ooh,
Yes.
baby, try me.
They
Ooh,
always trying and then they want to act insane when you
it's like,
respond.
right.
Yeah. That's why I
But
don't like that. I don't like giving people the ability to try to manipulate my emotions. So it's like, I see what you're doing. I'm going to walk away for a minute. I have to go cry and pray for a minute. I might even have to fast, but I'm not letting you take me off my square because you're trying to play me out of my position. And that's the battle for me. It's like you're not about to win over me. So I fight against that because I don't want you to. I don't want nobody to be able to push me out of my position.
And that's good to for you to recognize, because some people don't.
Hmm.
And that's where, the weakness come in, and the enemy, trying to pounce and do all these things, or it's so
Yeah.
much going on at one time, like, you know what, I can't focus because I got this and this going on. And
Hmm.
then in a moment, just like in the Wiz or the Wizard of Oz, whichever one you
Yeah.
like, all of a sudden a storm came, right? A
Hmm.
tornado, and blew everything away. And then you're in a different place.
Yeah.
So in those moments when you think that all is lost, when you think that you can't get away, God always makes a way of escape. It's the
Always.
choice that you can go this way or you can stay right here. And being in a place also of having accountability partners has
Hmm.
been my lifesaver. Has been my
Oh
lifesaver.
yeah. Somebody got to be able to call you out on your, when you getting, or somebody you can bounce stuff off of, or
Absolutely.
confide in. And what do you think about this? Did I handle this right? My grandma and my mom are those people mainly for me. My grandma, my mom, and probably a couple friends because I can trust. They're gonna tell. They don't want me out here looking crazy, so they're gonna tell me the truth.
Absolutely.
You were
Abs-
wrong, or you could have handled it this way, or whatever the truth is, they're gonna shoot it.
Straight. You have to.
Mhm.
Um, let's get into this. Tell me I remember when story.
A funny story, or
It doesn't matter. It's just I remember when.
the first thing that came to my mind was, it's a funny story. When I was like 6 or 7 years old, I thought I was that deal. I can beat up anybody. Like, and there was a boy in my grandma's neighborhood, and he was like probably 12 or 13. And he was like a bully. He was just messing with everybody. I'm like, oh, I could get him. And they all hyping me up like, Sudana's so strong. She could do this. She could do that. And I went up to him. I pulled back like this. Mind you, he like 12, 13. I'm like 6 or 7. I pulled back, tried to punch him. He knocked me out. He hit me with like a 1-2 and knocked me out. And I literally saw stars. And my uncle went and got him back. But I was like, okay, so my nose is bleeding out. Woke back up. I was at my grandma's house sitting on the porch. And the next day, I found a boxing glove in my grandma's basement. And I put the glove on. It was only one. I couldn't find two because I was like, I'm about to go back and get them across the street. So I put it behind my back and I'm like, all right, I'm about to go get them. My sister was like, go get them. I was like, not today. I don't feel like it. Because I knew, like, no, this is a bad idea.
Mhm.
Crazy little boy. But yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind for some strange reason.
So wow, you thought you could just take on anybody, huh?
Literally. Literally. I said, "Oh,
That
I
is
go for this.
hilarious.
Bullying people? Oh, I got y'all. Swore up and down."
Well, I mean, I used to be like that too. Like I'm about to save everybody.
Yeah.
And then there was one time a guy in our neighborhood was a bully. He was much older than all of us, and he hit my brother in the head with a brick because he
Okay.
got caught while we was playing hide and seek. And so my brother ran past me, head bleeding and everything, runs in the house. Before
Mhm.
I could get toward the house, my mom was like, and if you don't, I already knew what the rest of the sentence was. Scared and all. But I beat the, I
'Cause
bet you
you
gonna
had
do it again.
to. You
I
had
had,
to.
listen, if you know my mama, Lord,
Mhm.
I'd rather take a whooping from a stranger
Yep.
than get licked up by my mama. No, sir. Even to this
Did
day,
what you had to do.
no, absolutely not. No, sir. I'd rather,
Serious.
nope. So, my next one is when destiny calls, what you doing?
I have to pick up the phone. I have
Mm-hmm.
to. I'ma always, I might say my little stuff like, God, I'm tired of this now. Now these people that you want me to minister to and all this mess and all this, but I'ma always end up doing what God called me to do because He loved me first and He loved me as I was and He
Yeah.
still loves me through it all. So my way of showing God that I appreciate everything that He has done for me so undeserving is to say yes.
Hmm.
So
No,
I'm gonna keep
no
saying
negotiating. No.
I know that there's no negotiation with him, but I do let him know what concerns me. Like, okay, you want me to do this? I've done this before, but then this part I have no clue about. But he always has it planned out to where you're going to get what you need in order to fulfill that. You're going to meet the right people. You're going to walk through the right doors. You're going to have the right opportunity. You're going to be seen by the right person. It always happens. So I've learned to just go with the flow more and more and more over time because you could plan it out so strategically and think this is exactly how it's supposed to be done. And God does something different, but it still happens. Or you could say this is taking too long, like Abraham and Sarah, and you try to formulate your own way to do it. And I'm so entrepreneurial minded and I'm a hustler, like go getter, creative person that I can come up with, you want me to do this? Okay, so here's the plan. And then that's a waste of time because God has a way that He wants to do what He's just giving you a preview of what is going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So more and more, and when I start feeling myself feeling control or I want to know everything, I relinquish that control and just throw it back to God. Like, you said you want me to do this, I'm willing to do it. I don't see how it's gonna be done. I don't see where you want to go with this, but you know. So I have to remind myself to relinquish that control because I am so entrepreneurial minded. I can make a business out of some dust because my creativity, that's a gift He gave me, but I need to govern it by His Holy Spirit so I can be led. Because literally, I can make up a business about anything, but is that what God want me to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, dead or alive, who would you like to do a collaboration with?
Malcolm X.
Really?
I Yeah, I love Malcolm X. Why I love him is because of his bravery
Mm.
and him just being a devout person, a disciplined person that was willing to die for a cause, feeling that death could come at any time, and still with power, speaking truth to power. I love that bravery and just being able to say exactly what needs to be said. And when they interviewed him, he wasn't tripping up over his words. They weren't able to manipulate him to fall into any traps. He was just very thorough like that. And I love that about him, just his bravery and the ability to speak. And it was so powerful.
Hmm. What is something people would be surprised to know about you?
What would they be surprised to know? Because I'm such an open book. Surprise. Hmm. I don't know. I'm very tender-hearted. Like, I am so tender-hearted. Like, my compassion is just overwhelming. I'll cry before I hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm. I can
But
see
maybe
that.
people know that. I don't know. I'm so open.
Um, let's think. So in history, most people would say, something they're afraid of, something they don't like to eat, or something they love to eat. Um, dancer, singer in the shower. I don't know. Um, some people have said some very
Interesting things.
interesting things. So let me ask this, not to, as a boxer,
Mhm.
right? Have your teeth ever been knocked out?
Mm-mm.
That's why I say your stuff looks super like.
I've been in some fights. I've been in some. I don't know why I never got a black eye. I'm not acting like I want to get one, but I just. And people used to be like, "You a fighter?" Like when I would be walking around, I'm like, "Yeah." You want to find out? Like I'm thinking that in my head, but I'm like, "What am I supposed to be looking like?" But I just
Some,
never.
some,
I've had busted lips from headbutts and stuff like that, but I really never. I didn't. It
but
wasn't that bad.
it's now I've seen some boxers, female ones, and I was like,
They look like a man or real. I mean, I didn't even say that. I mean, like, you know what? I fought a lot of girls that try to act like that, and they like trying to grin me and intimidate me. You can't intimidate me, like,
they do look a little rough.
yeah. And I'd be like, you still a woman, so let's get it.
Yeah.
I definitely seen a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I know what you're talking about.
A little interesting, but yeah, because I'm looking at your teeth like, man, them must is straight, early white up.
You know what?
Like, is
In my
them
first,
real? Is them ain't real. Them not her teeth.
oh my gosh. In my first fight, my coach forgot to put my mouthpiece in the last round. Me and this girl was thumping. It was a girl from Ohio. And my lip was like busted open on the inside so bad. Cause you really people don't understand why you need a mouthpiece so bad. Your teeth would cause so much damage to your
Damage,
lip.
yeah.
And I could have gotten my tooth knocked out because the way my lip was feeling, and it was just like gashing. That was the worst ever. But my first coach. He was not paying attention or something, but he didn't put my mouthpiece back in. I'm like, dang, why is my mouth feeling like that? And then I start feeling it because we was thumping. Me and her was going at it. I just felt that blood coming out. I'm like, what is going on? But I
Hmm.
thank God I didn't lose my teeth that day.
Well, we thank God that your teeth are real. Hallelujah. Praise the name of our God. Okay, that your teeth
Yeah.
are amazing.
Because I do know
Um,
some boxers that got their teeth knocked out.
sure.
Headbutt.
Listen, under these lashes. I'm paying attention now.
Yes.
So this year I wanted to also bring out the importance of love. What we see in the news, what we read, everything is so negative. And I wanted to showcase this year Black love. It's specifically Black love, not just
Mm-hmm.
in couples, but showing why we do what we do is very important. With you being in ministry, also
Mm-hmm.
being in the community, also going into the jails, um, it's important for us to show love wherever we are.
Yeah.
And of course, the Bible talks about, you doing all this other stuff, all this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have love,
It means
what's the
nothing.
point? What's the point? And so I wanted to get into the importance of love and perfecting your gift.
Mm. Okay.
Let's get to
Um,
it.
Nobody cares what you know unless they know that you care. You can tell when somebody genuinely cares about the people or the person that they're talking to. That's more impactful. What leaves the heart, it reaches the heart. And there are processes in life. You don't, you don't want to just jump into doing something because you could be called to something but not have been cultivated yet.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through processes and allow God to lead and let you know when it's time to be on a certain platform or to do a certain thing. Because doing it prematurely can cause great damage to you and the people that you're speaking to, or the people that you're trying to administer healing to, or whatever your gift is. You have to make sure that you have allowed God to refine that through trials, tribulation, enduring that, and making sure that when you're going through things, one thing that God taught me is when I'm going through something, I have to go to Him to get through it. If I run to other things, then I negate the process. So I'm not getting the growth that I need for each stage. So you might stay at a stage too long because you're negating the process by forfeiting where God is saying, I want you to suffer through this. Then you start running to vices and not running to God. And I ran to God. And so I am where I'm supposed to be, and I'm doing the things that I've been called to do, but I'm not doing them as a novice. I've been formed and fashioned and made and perfected because I don't care about titles, I don't care about positions, and I don't care about attention. I want to know, is God pleased? Because I got to look in the mirror at the end of the day and know that I'm being who I'm supposed to be and being authentic in that and not trying to be something. I am being. I am. I am doing because I am. I'm allowing God, and I have allowed God to process me time and time again to do the things that He called me to. And I don't want to ever prematurely jump out there because I care about the way that I'm doing what I've been called to do. And if I'm doing it in His timing, and if I'm doing it when He says do it. So perfecting your gift is important by allowing God to lead. He will lead you into certain situations. And as you pray in that, He will give you revelation of why you need to go through this or why. And He might not tell you all the answers then, but that's also when you get to know Him. I got to know Him in my suffering because He never left. He never left. So, your character is developed. You need character more than anything to be able to operate in that place and also maintain that place that God takes you to. So your gifts have to be refined, thrown into the fire, and He has to continuously put you on the potter's wheel to perfect what He placed on the inside of you. And I've learned because I have a lot of different gifts and abilities, but the inside, the core of who you are is what God is after. He's not really like I paint, I draw, I do a lot of stuff, but that's not what God is after. Those are things that He gave me to enjoy. And those are therapeutic things as well for me. So He gave it to me, but it's also for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the core of who I am is what God cares about the most. And I know that I have to do that in a certain way. Like the Bible says, walk circumspectly. If I'm going to be representing God, I want to make sure God is with me. Like Saul was king for 40 years and only anointed for 2. I don't want to do something with God. I want to make sure what I'm doing for God, He is with me within it, that He has sanctioned what I'm doing. Because I see a lot of people just doing stuff for God, quote unquote, for God, but God is not with you.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't tell you to treat His people that way. God didn't tell you to represent Him like that. And that I fear the Lord. So I want to do things God's way. Not I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I don't play with God. I play with God, and I fear the Lord. So I let God perfect the things that He placed on the inside of me. I knew when I was a little girl that I was called to preach. I knew I saw these things. I heard these things. But when you really love God and you really understand and fear the Lord, you don't want to do things just to do them.
Mhm.
I want to know that God is pleased.
Let me ask this for the people in the background. With you being a boxer,
Mm-hmm.
with you being very, I want to say strong willed, that's not the word I want to say.
Well, I don't know.
Um, Leader, um, were there moments where men were literally intimidated by you?
Yes. It's interesting because they're enamored by those things. They love to see it in action, and they love those qualities about me or other women, like women. But a lot of men can't handle a woman that knows who she is and doesn't have to be told who she is. I have direction, I have purpose, I know who I am. Having your own mind, having understanding of your identity and being strong, it is intimidating. They say that they like it and they want to be a part of it, but it is intimidating for them for whatever reason.
I also think too, coming from being a tomboy for years, I was not feminine at all. Like wearing a dress I was allergic. Okay, no. I was comfortable in the baggy clothes and the pants, and I didn't wear makeup because I was like, oh, it's the natural beauty and this and that, and no. And it took another guy to say, it's not that you're ugly.
Ooh.
It's not that you can't, but soften up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a hard time switching. Like,
It's a
I don't know.
transition.
I don't know what you want from me. I'm just comfortable in being what I was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a moment, a light bulb went off and was like, while you're working on you in the inside, God is also working on the outside of you as well.
Yeah.
And he was simultaneously working on the inside of me as well as the outside, where I was now attracted to feminine things, makeup and nails. And now it's like, I can't wait to go get my nails done when I hated it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to go get my lashes done because I love it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't come from a guy saying this was cute on you. This is what I saw in the mirror. I made a
Mm-hmm.
statement before to a young lady. There were years where I didn't look at myself in the mirror at all. I didn't own mirrors. I didn't want to look at myself because
Mm.
I was, girl, please. I was not happy about what I was looking like from the inside out.
Mm.
Until one day, God said, go look in the mirror. What do you see? And I named off all the negative stuff that you can think of. And God was like,
Wow.
that's not what I see. And from those moments, God started calling me Sunshine.
Oh, so that's where that name was birthed. Wow.
It's almost at the same moments of the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from where you come from, hell, to say, I still love you.
Beauty for
You
ashes.
are beautiful to me because I made
Mm-hmm.
you. And how you see yourself is not how I see you. And from that moment on, it was like the words he said to me was life to my bones. It was life to who I am and who I portrayed to be, who I want the world to know who God is in me, through me, is you, the sun. He could have called me anything, but the sunshine, not only the reflection, the complexion of the sun, but then it's your heart. It's the heart. It's not
Yeah,
my
that's what it
outer.
is.
It's what do you represent? Like, I want y'all to understand, it was not always like this. She told you tonight she had an anger problem. It wasn't always like this. Now you listening to her, she looks so calm. So calm. But at the end of the day, we all had to go through our journeys. We all had to go through something for God to develop us to be who we are now. Am I finished? Absolutely not. Am I still on the potter's wheel? Absolutely. Because there's moments when, we revert back. Sometimes we forget. And then he'd be like, no, remember when you were like this and how your life was and what was going on, the turmoil was going on your decisions that you were making?
Yeah.
And be like, you know what, God, you are so right. Absolutely right. Let me get myself together, get back onto relinquishing control.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, control and allowing other people became a trust issue for me. Trust issue. I don't trust you to lead me. I don't trust you to speak to me. I don't trust you to do nothing for me. Because when I do, you driving me down a hole that I done already climbed out of.
Or into a ditch.
So here it is. Now, I wasn't supposed to be going down this road, but she making me. So we have these moments, we have these platforms, we have our accountability partners, we have all of these things to understand that the gift that God gave us, the most important gift that he gave us is love.
Yeah.
And so many people I probably don't like. I probably would never hang out with them. Probably wouldn't do none of this stuff. But that don't matter, because at the end of the day, you're the gift that they need.
Yeah.
Girl, I need a drink on
And
that.
and see, you talked about the sunshine, but you shine on other people.
Yep. That's my superpower.
It's not just that you shine, but you shine. You have a glow that God gave you, but you also shine your light on others. And that's your way of showing love, that you shine your light on those areas that they might not see themselves.
Absolutely.
Or you shine the light in those dark places and you're able to see things to bring to their attention that could be helpful. And so
it's the superpower. Like,
yeah, I noticed that about you.
is I told somebody I love learning about new people. We find out that we are more alike than we are different, but you'll never know until you have a conversation with somebody. That's why I don't do interviews. That's a whole different type of, a whole different thing that people climb up when you talk about interviews. Because there are a lot of people who don't do well in interviews, can get the job, but they can't answer the questions.
It's like,
and so your true self comes out when you talk. It's a whole different concept. I didn't make that up. He did. He just told me to get on the couch and I'll do the rest. Just show up. Yep. And then he takes over the conversation. There's nothing scripted. Nothing. I don't give people questions up front. No. Right. I don't want you thinking about anything. I just need you to show up and we're going to talk. And that's the good thing about how he he does this is he has his own way. We talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
You. You are a celebrity. You are the star. You are.
Mm.
Not me. This ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just enjoying your conversation. I'm enjoying you. Because when we get to CNN and all these other places, they're going to only ask you questions about how they know you. Are they
Yeah.
really concerned about you?
Mm-mm.
Are they really concerned about your soul? Are what is it? Do they want to listen about your story? How you had to deal with not having a father? Do they really want to know about you being raised by a widow? Do they care?
Nope.
I do. The great thing about a story, I can know your beginning and I could possibly know your end. But
Mhm.
that middle, oh, that's the interesting part. That's all the tea.
Yeah, and that's the part that people don't want to share.
Mm-mm.
And like you said in the beginning, transparency. Transparency is very important to me because when you're free from something, or you've been through something, or you've healed from something, or you've come to terms with how something was, you don't mind sharing it because it could be beneficial to somebody else that is ashamed of it. Like you said, I love to meet new people and just have conversations and just be a safe space, because you will find out that we're more alike than we are different. No matter what color, race, if you were raised in a different country, there are more similarities than there are differences. And that helps you to broaden your horizon, that you're not closed off and judgmental, but like one of my friends said, because I speak to everybody and I know like people, but I don't know everybody, but I speak to everybody and people speak to me. Like kids just walk up to me and hug me. She was like, "You don't know no strangers." And I'm like, I guess so, because I like that. I like to meet new people because I've learned so much. You can only learn so much from a book or watching an interview or watching a documentary, but when I can actually meet you and it prompt me to ask you questions, I'm learning new things. That way I
Mm-hmm.
can understand more people. It widens and deepens my capacity to love more people, because
Absolutely.
a lot of people are closed off and they're stuck with the demographic that they grew up with. This is
Mm-hmm.
the type of person I'm familiar with and comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But when you meet so many different people from different households, different walks of life, even different religions, you get to understand. You get a
Mm-hmm.
better understanding and you deepen and widen your capacity to love,
Absolutely.
because you're loving without judgment.
Yes, that's the key word.
Because now I can
Is
understand.
no judgment. You
Yeah.
can't. There's no way you can love humans and be judgmental. Half the time, to be honest, the people that have been on this show and when they talk about certain things, I've already been there. I've done that. So no, I'm not judgmental to, bisexuals,
Mm-hmm.
homosexuals, none of that. Because at one point that used to be my life. So why would I be judgmental to you?
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I had to make a choice. That ain't, but until you come into the knowledge and
Right.
you want to change, then you will be able to change. But again, are you born like that? No.
Right.
There are choices. There are things that might have happened in your life where you feel like this is the only thing I know. This is what I'm comfortable with. Until again, things change. It's
Mhm.
like the reality is things that I liked when I was 15, I don't like now.
That's
When I
it.
was 15, I thought forever and ever this was gonna be. No.
You
God, like,
evolve.
girl, please.
And
Mm-mm.
that's what I don't like. I don't like when people judge, because that person could be in the middle of their process. Not only judging, but condemning or injuring a person because you're speaking about something you don't know. You don't know what God is doing in that person. You don't know that his hand is on that person.
Absolutely.
But from the looks of it, that's why it says man look at the outer appearance, but God
Yeah,
look at the heart.
absolutely.
It's
That's
my
good.
job to love you. It's
Yep.
not my job to fix you
No.
because I didn't create you. I don't know what fixing looks like. So why would I put myself in God's position who
Yeah.
could possibly injure somebody or turn somebody in a totally different direction? Because all you're supposed to do was sit there and plant a seed and love.
Here's the other thing is
Mhm.
he created you. You were probably the one that he chose to help me. And this is why
Mhm.
um some of these people, shun on people with disabilities, or um how people process, how they think, how they move, how they operate. Like, no, love them where they are and keep on loving them.
That's it.
In that moment, you loving them. I wish I could read this text message. There's a young man that everybody, they might think he's weird or he's
Mhm.
strange or whatever the case may be. I have a relationship with everybody. And so they'll be like, well, why you talk to them and why you talk? I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. So he got a promotion.
Mhm.
And I texted and said, congratulations. He said, I appreciate it. And then I went a step further to say, I'm proud of you for real. And the text message came back is, you just made my day. I needed to hear that. I don't know what he needed. I just was obeying and said what I said. But
Yeah.
again, somebody else who's in the same office is like, that's good for you. Like, had an attitude about it. Like,
Mhm.
you don't know. Your smile, your presence might be the thing that keep them still living.
Yeah.
So it's never really about
Mhm.
you. Stop being selfish with you.
It's not about you. You are a conduit to connect somebody to God. You are a conduit to touch somebody. We are his hands and feet in the earth. And your light has to shine. And I get people doing that too sometimes because I treat everybody equal. I don't have no partiality. I will shake hands with the man on the corner and introduce
Absolutely.
myself because who am I? And I don't I don't overlook and I don't look down on anybody. And I don't mind. I don't hold compliments in. I don't withhold compliments because I'm not, I don't, I'm going to tell you what I like about you versus, some people can't say, I love her hair. They will rather say something hateful or start when really you like it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were mad because you wanted to be able to have that,
Yes, absolutely.
you know?
They
And
want to be able to switch it up. And I'm
yeah,
like, one of my rules is hair is hair and it will grow back.
yeah,
I dye my hair often. Not only because I love color, and it's also a conversation piece.
yeah,
So people get to talking to me about my colors and how bold they like it and all the different things. Then I began to talk about God with them. Like, he
hmm,
made me different for a reason.
definitely.
If I look like you wouldn't say nothing to me. With 14 tattoos, probably getting more. Used to have my tongue pierced, have my nose pierced, several earrings. Okay, it's okay. I don't look like you, and it's
And
okay.
you're supposed to, right? And that's why I don't like when people say weird in a bad way or you weird, you awkward. I'm being me. You just not used to seeing people not
See, yeah,
emulate other people. I'm so good in my own skin. You should be worried about getting good in your own skin, But that's why I teach the children somebody weird, you're good. Continue to be you, because somebody will alter their whole personality, their whole style, just because somebody said it was something wrong with it.
Yeah.
You wish you could be yourself. That's all I'm doing. So I tell them all the time, if somebody call you weird, that's their own problem. But you
Yeah.
continue to do those things that you like to do. If you like to wear your two ponytails and you thought it was cute when you looked in the mirror, don't let nobody when you walk away from that mirror stop you from thinking that, because they're not comfortable with themselves. They want to imitate what
Absolutely.
somebody else is doing. So of course you're
And
not
half
going to
the
be
stuff is
comfortable.
not even real.
It's
Like
not.
what we aspire to be sometimes is not even what you think, or you don't even know what they did to get there. If
Yes.
you knew half the stuff, you wouldn't even want it. So again, girl, we had two more things.
Okay.
What's a song that will get you through any moment in your life? Like if you were sad, you're feeling some type of way, what song will get you through?
Great is thy faithfulness, because God is always faithful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to wonder, is he going to be there? I don't have to wonder, am I going to do something that's going to make him leave? I don't have to wonder if he's going to change his mind about me. I don't have to wonder that. I know that no matter what phases, stages, whatever things that I've said or done, he's right there. So great is thy faithfulness. It reminds me of his goodness. And that pops me back and it puts everything in perspective in any song about the blood, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for the blood, okay. So
Yes, absolutely, and I do agree to that. Like, um, so this next portion is where I want you to go into your organization,
okay.
the importance of uplifting and empowerment, and you can talk about remnant. Yeah.
Okay. So I started it in 2018. Like the Lord gave me a vision and he speaks to me audibly about things like when he gave me the name Mouthpiece, he literally spelled it mouth Peace. But when he gave me Remnant on the Rise, he spelled it to me Remnant on the Rize. And he said, this is where you're going to do community outreach. This is where you're going to do mentorship, because I feel like God will send you into areas where you see problems or where you see you will be able to provide a solution. I mentor the youth not to make them into a certain mold, but to awaken, enlighten them to their own superpowers that they naturally have. And the enemy tries to get to children to try to destroy them before they fully develop and become who they're supposed to be. And they'll alter and taint themselves, but I want them to see this is something that's great about me. I might be loud and people say I'm loud, but maybe God gave me that voice for a reason. It has power behind it. Or I can draw, but maybe God gave me that ability for a reason, so I'm going to keep doing that. I want them to see who they are individually, not to make them into a certain kind of young woman or young lady or young man, but I want them to see that they are special just the way that they are. They are worthy of love just the way that they are. And children don't always need more discipline. They need more mentors, people that they can model themselves after, or people that they can look to and have hope. And just having that person to plant that seed and being a part of the village is the mentorship aspect of it, because there aren't that many mentors. A mentor is like the word compassion in the Greek. It means it's kopate. It means to suffer with. To jump in a boat with somebody and travel, and even if it's for a short period of time, and just kind of pour into them. No matter, no, not looking for the end result, not looking for credit, not looking for anything like that. But if God poured into me to pour something into you, I want to make sure that you get it. and just
Absolutely.
showing love and just doing things without requiring perfection in return as well. Because when I would have anger problems as a child, I always thought that I'm gonna do this one blow up, and then everybody's gonna give up on me. Nobody's gonna love me anymore, and that would just send me down that path even more. So I
Okay.
love to love on children that I see difficulty in or a struggle. I can discern very well too, because I experienced a lot of things as a child, even depression and different things, and just grieving so I can see it in them and speak to it
Mm-hmm.
versus talking at them or just berating them or why are you doing that? I can literally see the root and I'll ask a question or I'll say something or I'll just continue to nurse that wound without them knowing because
Yeah.
I'm using the gift that God perfected, as we talked about earlier, in me. I didn't know that
Mhm.
what I went through, I would end up ministering to some of those same children that are going through the same things that I experienced, but didn't have a comprehension that I was grieving or I didn't have an understanding that I was so hurt and I was bottling it in. And the only emotion that I could show was anger because it was a safe emotion to me. Crying, it will make you a vulnerable, but it developed a callus on my heart until God pulled that back and I was able to freely love and just be fully who I am. So I can see those things in them. And I just want to be a part of their journey. Teaching them mental health skills about, just taking some time, quiet time to meditate, write down your feelings, things like that, giving them strategies, tools, and camaraderie, creating a safe community where they feel comfortable enough to just be who they are and teaching the community as a whole. You see your sister having this type of issue, or you see somebody messing with her, you go to her aid, you hug her, you speak. We're going to accept and we're going to embrace one another while we're in these small group communities because that's important. So that's the mentorship aspect, and then I've always had a deep compassion for homeless people. I would see them out on the street, and even as a child I would just take the change out of my pocket and give it to them, and I would cry sometimes when I would see them. I just had that compassion, like I want to do something. I know I can't resolve the issue, but I want to be a part of the solution, some sort of solution, even if it's a small impact. I want to be a part of that. So that is my ministry and putting myself in a position to be a blessing. So trying to garner resources where I can pour out. I had to create my own thing so that I can also maintain the integrity of it because a lot of organizations they lose sight of the mission and they end up thinking about the money that they can get in return and it's not pure anymore. Now you got the people at the top, the CEOs of this and that, collecting all the money, and then the people at the bottom who are supposed to be served are getting scraps.
Right.
So I put myself in a position to uplift and empower and show love to my community and creating Remnant on the Rise is me doing my part and just being obedient to God along the way. Not just taking any opportunity, not just being a part of anything, not, putting the name with everything and everybody, but keeping it pure and keeping the mission at hand. Not to take, but to give.
Absolutely.
Not to be served, but to serve. And it's certain scriptures like pure and undefiled religion is to take care of the widows, the fatherless. It's so
Yep.
many children that don't have fathers. And like I grew up in church. I talked about this um in my book, I believe. I grew up in church my whole life. My grandma's a pastor. Like, I don't remember a time when when I wasn't in church. But when our father died, I didn't nobody reached out and said, "Do you guys need anything?" You had it right the first time. It's on the rise.org. But I love that though. But nobody reached out and said, "Do you guys need anything? Are the children okay?" Nobody pulled us to the side and talked to us. And I'm not blaming anybody or saying that they had to do that. But that's just something that I think about. I
Hmm.
talk to kids that lost their father in the schools, and it's a foggy place because children don't understand they're grieving. They don't understand what's going on. They don't know what they're going through. They don't know how to process things. But nobody in the church stepped up and was like, you know what? Let me show them some love, or, and that just made me think like there's a need for this. And it might not be, of course, that they don't want to, but maybe they just don't know what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
just providing that light of, not blaming anybody, but seeing holes and seeing where things can be better, and seeing where you can provide assistance along the way in somebody's journey that can really potentially help catapult them into the greatness that God has for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a couple good men in my life through boxing that are like still in my life that were father figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that did something for me. I trusted them. They never was perverted. They gave me a lot of game through those years of me boxing, had my back. Like that mentorship, it matters.
Yeah, for sure. Even with just the day to day of speaking um, is important. Um, Doing youth ministry, and I'm a mother hen. That's another one of my superpowers. I love on everybody's kids because at the end of the day, I grew up in the village where my neighbors, my school, my church, my everything all was concerned about me. And we got to get back to that. Stop
Yeah.
being selfish. Um, when we went shopping, it wasn't just my household that my parents was concerned about. It was other people, kids. With how society is, you need all the help you can get.
Yeah.
So if hey, you a couple and y'all need a day for yourselves just to reconnect, I'll come and get your kids. Um, if I take them to the circus or whatever, you have your time. Sometimes we just need help, and sometimes we're so that we don't ask for help. This is why we're here. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to do this by yourself. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to feel like, there's a hidden agenda. There's nothing hidden about me. I'll give my last to make sure you have. That's how I am. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was raised with my parents, because I seen it. And we never went without. So again, um, I don't know how to be selfish. They'll say you need to be, because I will give everything. But
Yeah.
God never, He will always, whatever I'll give out, He gonna give it back plus some.
Okay.
I don't worry about that at
Yeah.
all. If you drop in my spirit, I'm asking one question, and then after that, that's it. I'm done. Like Cash App, whatever. It it is what it is. So, the last thing, what is a balanced life for you?
Mind, body, and spirit. I like to make sure that my health is straight, my spirit is in the right place, that I'm in alignment. So my mind, I make sure that I know I try to keep a balance. That's the most important thing to me. I know if something is off, I know what it is. Like, dang, I've been eating out too much. I've been slacking in this area. So it's imbalanced. But I love to make sure that I can identify those triggers of, okay, my mind is kind of foggy right now. I need to take a step back, make sure I'm doing my self-care routine of making sure I like to go get my nails done. I like to go get massages, like different things. Okay, I'm slacking in that area. I'm not taking care of me. Because one thing I've learned by having that heart to want to do for everybody, giving the shirt off your back, if you give everything that you have and deplete yourself, you have nothing left and you really don't have anything to pour and you're pouring from an empty place. And that's not what I ever want to do. I want to be able to be full, and if I'm not full, I'll take a step back, get myself together, make sure my mind, body, and spirit is in alignment, so that I can be healthy enough to even be of assistance to anybody else. You do
Absolutely.
have to put your life mask on first, but I used to put others before me because I
Yeah.
just care. But
Hmm.
that's not healthy and that's not self-love. So self-care is like up here, making sure that I'm maintaining my peace and balancing by doing that. Like,
Yeah, you have to. It's very important because I told my girls not too long ago, I felt like I was becoming evil. Um,
mm,
because I wasn't taking care of me. I was taking care of everybody else but myself. And so that moment of, okay, you gotta plug in for you, was a real thing. And even going into the next part, which is the church announcements, is God definitely put me in check about trying to do his business.
yeah.
And that ain't what he told me to do.
You
So
don't
in
have the space or capacity to do that.
no, in 2022, I wrote the Blueprint God's Design, and it was how my health had declined because I was doing everything that he didn't tell me to do. And he was like, and these are the things which will cause you to lose time, lose money, lose your health, lose your sanity because you're trying to do my job. I was like,
Mm-mm.
God, you only got to tell me once. I'm good. He said, now go back to the blueprint and stop wasting this. Reset, sit down and reset.
Yeah.
And that's what that's about. So that is on Amazon. This year in May, my second book, Can Prayer Change Things? Now, the question on the table was, how did a pimp and a prostitute become who they were? I don't think as a kid they decided, hey, I'm gonna grow up and be a pimp, or I'm gonna grow up to be a prostitute. What happened in their life? As a person, have you ever wondered? Have you ever prayed? Have you ever asked? So, what I need y'all to do is go to Amazon, put this book in, put my name in, however you want to do it, or the code. And I need you to read this book. And I need you to tell me, can, will, and did prayer change things? So that's the synopsis of that. And it's doing very, very, very well. So that's that. If you want to continue to see this platform get to TV land, I told y'all I am going to be the next Arsenio Hall / Ellen DeGeneres. So if you want to see the show get there, you can donate at the Cash App at Sunshine Camila. As you saw earlier, main event was in the building. I need you guys to go and support my brother. Blacktop Streetball Association, btsba.com. And check out when his this baby is gonna come forth of taking our culture back. And one was huge. And one was huge. But when you got the key players as being owners of teams and getting back to you can't be professional if you never played in the streets. It started in the streets. So again, we taking culture back. I want y'all to support my brother in his endeavors. Also, if you know of some cool people who you would love to see on this show to have a conversation with me and the village, you can inbox me on Facebook, Sunshine Camila. You can inbox me on IG, either one of those, or you can email me and I will definitely get back with you. I am definitely an advocate for my friends who are Black owners in their businesses. AC's tea, the best turmeric and ginger tea you will ever taste in your entire life. She is on Facebook at AYECEE, phone number 313-380-0321. I am a living testimony that I didn't get sick. at all. These are properties of your immune system. If you even feel an inkling of you about to get sick, drink this tea. I promise you, you will not get sick. If you know of the famous, infamous Peggy James, she has a catering company, Famous Catering. 586-222-8417. Please go and support her. My sister, my beloved sister, she is an advocate for gardening. Grow your own food. She even grows or helps develop quail. So if you have any questions or concerns or any of that, my sister is the person to go to. On IG, she is Quail House Homestead. Please go and support her. On Facebook, she is Yolanda Peoples. You will see many videos or her tutorials on how to can food and all these different things. She has some of everything in her garden. She says to herself that she is closer to God when she walks through her garden. So again, go support her. Tonight, you heard about this wonderful woman's organization, and you know what we do here at the Village. We support our own. I need you to go to her website, ontherise.org, and support whatever her vision is. If it's donating money, if it's donating your time, whatever it is, I need you guys to show up because I know you will. So again, tonight's amazing conversation. Am I surprised about it? Of course not. I told you guys we have some of the best and dope guests on this show on this side of heaven. I kid you not. It is a real thing. And I love it. I really do. Again, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny, proven over and over again since I started this show. This week, I do have a special show this Saturday at 1 o'clock with Jovan Long, who is doing it so, oh my God. He is one of the major Tubi actors. He's on stage. Matter of fact, he has one of the roles playing Judge Mathis that will be coming to the theaters in January. So you don't want to miss this conversation. I think this is the 3rd time I've had him on the show. And again, I definitely, this is what I do. I help promote. And I'll always have the story of, I remember when you were doing this and then you didn't blew up. So again, thank you for that. I'm asking special prayer for my mom. She had a rough day today, and I want her to be covered, that she continue her journey in healing from 2 back surgeries, one in May and one in August. So it's not easy, but God is definitely a healer. God is definitely providing, and he's giving wisdom for me to help her heal. So continue to pray our strength in the Lord. Last thing also, coming up soon, hopefully in December, one of my first guests I had on my show who was diagnosed with HIV, who was diagnosed with cancer, who was diagnosed with COVID, who was diagnosed and keep diagnosing and diagnosing, and today she stands cured from all of it. And if you see this woman, you would think somebody lying, because she don't look like she ever was sick, ever. To the point, even in her prostitution, she never gave HIV to her husband nor her kids. So this is the type of God that we serve. Don't matter. Mary Magdalene, don't matter. and started being one of the best witnesses you could ever imagine or know. So I want you guys to look forward to this conversation of her updates of what God has done for her since then, 4 years ago, of what He's doing in her life now. So again, this has been an awesome conversation, and I'm glad you were able to come through tonight. And the last words we're going to hear from tonight will be our wonderful guest. So what do you have to say, Mel?
Thank you so much for having me. I loved having a conversation with you. I knew it was going to be a great conversation, inspirational, reminding of why we do what we do. Sometimes you have to remember why you started, and I love that you brought up so many great points, and I'm just blessed to be connected. So I love the show. Keep going forward no matter what. I like that you pushed past adversity. You had a long day, and God still had His way. And I'm be praying for your mom too.
I appreciate it. I just want you to know that the village is definitely proud of you. It could have been another way. We could have fell in the hole of why me. We could have fell in so many different traps, but you decided, you made a choice to do it God's way. And if you ever need me, I don't care what it's for, I'm definitely here for real. We share the same sentiments on a lot of things, and this is the part of God gave me this also thing with superhero stories, and X-Men is one of my favorite.
Me too.
X-Men being, you're in a room in a university full of misfits, people who have been, and I'm not gonna cry, who have been thrown away for different reasons. Some of them don't even know themselves why.
Yeah.
They just know they're different. And sometimes as heroes, we don't know who we are until we're faced with adversity. We don't know our superpowers. We don't know we even have anything other than what has been told to us.
Yeah.
And in the X-Men, you have people who are in leadership who are still trying to find their way. And the main person, or a couple of them, Storm, the person who is in charge of, can be chaos if not controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Beast, you look at his outer and you think you should be scared of him. The most intelligent man you will ever meet.
Yeah.
But he don't let his outer beauty dictate who he is. Cyclops, Jean Grey, all of the Wolverine, who was made in a lab, still trying to figure out why. But ain't nobody beating the X-Men. And the good thing about them, they have simulators of their fights. That's another reason why you can't beat them. And then they tell each other where they went wrong. So when this lesson comes up again, you'll always win. This is all we're saying. Be a part of the team. The X-Men. The ones that we have to save even when they don't want to be saved. The ones we have to protect when they're going against the grain. Who do they call? The X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So I want y'all to know tonight, Don't just go by what you see and what you hear. Find out who you are on the team and be the best you that you can be. That's all we do. This is why we love to do what we do. Because at the end of the day, everybody has a role, including Xavier. I can't do me without you, and you can't do you without me. So with all that being said, I bid you adieu. I will see you on Saturday at 1 o'clock. So I will see y'all soon. I love y'all. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
You're so welcome.